The episode begins with the shocking revelation that Fatima killed Tilly. Boyd brings Fatima to a secluded shack and tells her that she has to stay there and must not go anywhere else. He starts questioning Fatima, asking her to explain what exactly happened. Fatima begins to recount her story, saying that she was extremely hungry and went to the shack to eat some rotting vegetables she found there. However, Tilly followed her and tried to stop her. I suddenly lost control of myself. I don't know what came over me, but I picked up a tea kettle and struck Tilly, leading to her death. Honestly, I can't explain why I did it. Boyd then says, I'm placing a stone here, and you'll have to stay here overnight. Don't be afraid, I'll come back to you in the morning with some food. However, Fatima responds, I don't want to eat this food. Boyd reassures her. Then he added, I'm leaving now to calm everyone down. I will come back and try to fix everything. Boyd leaves. Meanwhile, we see Jim and Tabitha, along with Ethan and Jade, emerge from the forest. They return to their house, and Jade goes to her place, where she thinks about having a drink. However, he soon realizes there is someone else. Investigating, he learns it is Henry. Jade asks, Who are you? And Henry reveals that he is Victor's father. Henry expresses a desire to drink. So Jade hands him a bottle. However, when Henry offers Jade to drink with him, Jade refuses, saying he doesn't want to drink with him. Meanwhile, some people discover that Tilly has died inside the shack. Elzin accidentally captures a photo with his camera, hinting that he might need to act based on what's in the picture. Julie is seen heading towards Randall, who is sitting in one spot. She thanks him for bringing her back safely from the forest. Julie then asks Randall about Christy and Muriel, saying she needed to meet them. However, Randall tells her that they are not here. Julie insists that they should return to the place they visited earlier, as they both sense something unusual there. Randall firmly refuses, stating that there's nothing there that could help them, and it's better to stay away from it. Julie leaves. Boyd is with his son Ellis. Boyd advises Ellis to tell anyone who asks that he was with his father and Fatima at a certain place. This way, no one will suspect Fatima. Ellis suggests telling everyone the truth, but Boyd insists that no one will believe them, so it's better to stay silent. Ellis argues that sharing the truth might lead to a solution, but Boyd disagrees, saying others won't understand the situation as they do. Alice leaves, and Boyd is called to another location where Tilly's lifeless body is discovered. Police officer Acosta, along with Kenny, is present, and everyone is puzzled over who might have killed Tilly. However, Boyd suspects that the monsters may have attacked her during the night. He suggests they focus on figuring out the situation by interrogating everyone. Acosta asks if this means they'll now be working together, to which Body responds. Acosta and Kenny then leave, and shortly after, Donna arrives at the scene. She uncovers the body and starts suggesting that Sarah might be responsible since she has killed someone before. Donna insists they should interrogate Sarah immediately. Boyd disagrees, saying they can't accuse Sarah without proof, but Donna remains adamant. Finally, Boyd instructs her to bring Sarah to the police station so they can question her together. Meanwhile, Victor is seen sitting near a mannequin Jasper, while Sarah, who is also there, tries to mimic the mannequin. Victor comments that the mannequin wasn't behaving that way, and tells Sarah she isn't imitating it correctly. Victor claims he can answer all the questions, but Sarah argues that it's just a lifeless dummy. It can't speak, so how could it possibly answer questions? Victor, however, gets furious and starts losing control, while Sarah tries repeatedly to calm him down. Meanwhile, Tabitha is cooking and Jim approaches her. Jim says, I disconnected the phone because someone used it to call us when you disappeared. Someone pretended to be Thomas, our deceased son, and they knew us well enough to harass us in this way. Just then, there's a knock at the door. It's Sarah. She tells them. Victor is losing control and keeps repeating that Tabitha should come to him immediately, so I came to you. Tabitha moves closer, though she doesn't want to leave. However, she ends up walking away. Elsin goes to Christie's hospital and removes a small tube used to draw blood. It's unclear whose blood he takes, and we'll find out later. Tabitha then arrives at Victor's place, where he seems delighted to see her. He tells her that she's the only one who can talk to the mannequin Jasper. Tabitha, unsure how to communicate with it, begins asking Victor for guidance. Victor insists that Jasper can answer all her questions if she talks to it directly. Tabitha asks Victor if he'd like to make a painting, but he says he's never drawn one before. She calms him down, helps him sit in a chair, and asks the name of his doll. Victor tells her it's called Jasper. Tabitha then requests Victor to tell her everything about Jasper, and he quietly begins to share. Someone mentions overhearing. Jasper talked once, and it was clear that Jasper's owner, Christopher, was someone who could even speak to them. Julie returns home, where her father, Jim, is preparing to leave. He tells her that he'll be back soon and asks her to take care of her younger brother, Ethan, who is upstairs. Julie goes to check on Ethan, who seems a bit sad. To cheer him up, she offers to take him to a special place she knows. Meanwhile, Henry is sitting next to Jade, drinking and talking. He mentions that his wife had a vision of this place. Jade responds, saying he's heard about it before. Jim arrives and angrily confronts Jade. Jim accuses Jade of manipulating his wife and filling her mind with ideas. Jade defends himself, insisting he's not doing anything wrong and that his goal is to help everyone escape from this place. However, Jim refuses to listen and repeats that Jade should stay away from his wife and family. However, Jade continues, "I didn't approach your wife, she came to me on her own. I have nothing more to discuss with you." After saying this, Jade walks away. In the place where Fatima is being held, Ellis arrives. As soon as Ellis sees Fatima, he embraces her. Fatima, overwhelmed, says, "I've killed someone." Ellis reassures her, "You haven't killed anyone. I'm here for you because I love you." Fatima begins to confess, "There's something inside me, but I don't know what it is." Ellis tries to calm her down and says, "I've brought you some clothes. You'll get better, little by little. Change into these clothes, and I'll be back." The scene shifts to Elsin, who is at a new location. He begins extracting blood from his own body and collecting it in a bottle. Suddenly, a camera clicks, capturing another photo, signaling that Elsin has identified his next target. Henry is still talking to Jim and begins to tell him, "Sometimes, you should just stay quiet and let things happen as they are meant to. When I look at you, I remember myself. I used to stop my wife from doing things too. I know you love your family deeply and that everything you do is for them, but honestly, you're scared, and because of that fear, you're only doing things for yourself." Hearing this, Jim sits down next to Henry and opens up. He says, "My father used to drink a lot, but I never touched alcohol. The night my daughter was born, I was at the hospital, but after leaving, I went to a bar and drank heavily. That night, I made a promise to myself that I would be a good father to my kids." In response, Henry hands Jim a glass of drink and says, "Then tonight, drink again." Meanwhile, we see Julie and Ethan arriving at the same place where Julie had once been with Randall. Julie approaches Ethan and starts speaking to him. She says, "Let me tell you a secret, but don't share it with anyone. I always hear a strange voice in my ears, but ever since I've come here, those voices have stopped. It's as if this entire place has gone silent. But I can't figure out whether this is a good or bad thing for me, or if I should even go further into this place. That's why I've brought you along to help me decide whether I should go inside or not." Ethan replies, "Just do what your heart tells you. If you feel like going inside, then go ahead." Julie decides to enter the mysterious place with her brother Ethan. However, as soon as she steps in, she finds herself in a completely different location. She hears people screaming in her ears and sees Randall and Muriel, who appear to be tied up somewhere, yelling for help. This disturbs Julie, but in reality, she's still lying unconscious in the same spot, with her brother desperately trying to wake her up. Meanwhile, in the strange place where Julie feels trapped, everyone she saw earlier disappears, and she encounters someone named Martin. A man is seen tied up near Julie, where there is also a well nearby. It seems someone is trapped inside the well. Martin tells Julie to throw the rope into the well, as someone inside wants to come out. It turns out Boyd is trapped inside. Julie throws the rope into the well, and Martin tells her that her work here is done, and she should leave. Julie runs away but gets confused about which path to take in the cave-like area. Suddenly, she hears children shouting, and also hears her mom, Tabitha. We then see Tabitha sitting near Victor, asking him about the day he overheard Jasper talking. Victor replies that he doesn't remember clearly but recalls being in a basement. Tabitha urges him to remember more details about the house near the basement. Sarah is also there, asking Victor about how the day was. Victor says it was a pleasant day, and he was playing hide and seek with his sister Eloise when he hid in the basement. This triggers some memories for him. Meanwhile, we see Donna questioning people alongside Kenny about who killed Tilly. A man interrupts, asking why they are interrogating everyone when they already know Sarah has a history of killing. He points out that Sarah also killed Kenny's father and suggests questioning her instead. Acosta asks Kenny if the news is true, and Kenny confirms it. Acosta suggests they speak to the person involved, so they head towards Sarah. On their way, they see Ethan running and shouting that something is wrong with his sister. Concerned, they rush to Julie, who is trapped in a nightmare. After some effort, they manage to wake her, and Julie regains her senses. Boyd and his son Ellis are seen arguing. Ellis insists on staying with Fatima, but Boyd warns him against it, saying her behavior has become dangerous. She even killed someone. Their argument is interrupted by Donna, who questions their discussion. Boyd avoids answering, but Donna suggests questioning everyone about Tilly's murder. Boyd reveals that Fatima is responsible but urges Donna to keep it a secret, fearing others won't believe them. However, Donna insists on telling the truth, warning Boyd that people no longer trust him and pressing him to stop hiding Fatima. Boyd refuses to tell the truth, so Donna warns him that she will reveal everything if he doesn't. Victor, Sarah, and Tabitha end up in a basement that Victor recognizes as the place he had hidden in before. He explains that he saw a doll there and a man named Christopher, who seemed to be talking to the doll and getting answers from it. However, Victor recalls that it wasn't actually the doll answering, but a boy in a white shirt who was always behind Jasper. This boy used to share secrets with Christopher. Victor remembers the boy, saying that children would be born in darkness and would also die in darkness unless someone gave them hope by telling them a story. That story would create roots, leading to a tree that could save them. Christopher was telling the boy to take the children through the tree, and he became very angry while saying this. These memories overwhelm Victor, making him seem almost frantic. Meanwhile, Elzin receives his task and goes to the shack where Fatima is. He uses an excuse to take her away. Boyd and his son Ellis also head toward the same shack. Boyd starts telling his son to protect himself and Fatima. He advises him to inform him immediately if he senses any danger. However, as they approach something suspicious, they find the door open and realize Fatima is missing. Both of them are shocked. Meanwhile, we see Elzin taking Fatima to a basement he's been to before. He tells her that Ellis is waiting for her there. Fatima enters, but she soon realizes that Ellis is not there. She insists on leaving, but suddenly, she feels pain in her stomach. Elzin then tells her that there's a baby inside her, and it's not just hers. It doesn't want her to leave. Despite this, Fatima is determined to get out of the place. Elzin, however, stopped her and dragged her into the room. The episode ends on this suspenseful note. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel to watch the next episodes.